improved across the country through the provision of necessary support. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, your very elaborate response is very much appreciated by people of Chadiza. However, Minister, what is so disheartening when you report a crime to the police is the rate at which they respond to the report. To that effect, Minister, I would want to find out, do we have a rapid response wing within the police service? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Let me thank my Honorable Member of Chadiza for asking this very, very important question, and actually for coming up with this very, very important question. I think one of the many issues this government committed to doing was to ensure that there was order in the country, that the atmosphere was one which was conducive for economic development. To this end, the measures I've outlined very, very clear speak to ensuring that now there's more and more efficiency in the police service. Response units the vehicles which will be domiciled in our various constituencies also form part of that rapid response we are looking at. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nkana.
Madam Speaker, this is a very important question, and I want to thank the Member of Parliament for Chadiza. Enhancing service delivery by the police. And the Honorable Minister in his response has highlighted a number of measures being implemented to enhance service delivery, one of which is the implementation of the safe city cameras. And not long ago, Honorable Minister, you are aware, the substantive minister was launching the safe city cameras. And he informed the nation that these cameras are able to pick minute activities as far as Chilanga for cameras that could be within town. Madam Speaker, how convenient is it that when the city is under surveillance, just the day before, is it the day before or yesterday, a very prominent member of the community was abducted and shot dead. Not long ago, our own friend, Honorable J.J. Banda, was abducted under the surveillance of cameras. Not long ago, Judge Muma was abducted and thrown in Zambezi River under the watch of these safe city cameras. Honorable Minister, how convenient is it that when the city is under surveillance, just when people are being abducted, the cameras are being shut. Police officers are not able to pick, even when we have been told by the substantive minister that these cameras are able to pick minute details as far as Chilanga. How convenient is it that on these cases I've highlighted, these cameras are going off? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the Member of Parliament sincerely for that very, very important question. But I also maybe need to advise him, probably the question is coming from his limited understanding of engineering. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker.
Order, Honorable
Madam
Minister,
Speaker.
Just answer the question.
Madam Speaker.
Don't refer to his qualifications.
All of us have limited capabilities. You can't be a jack of all trades. Madam Speaker,
Order.
I can sympathize with my Honorable Member of Parliament. Obviously, in all his grandstanding, he thinks that he's the only one who can answer these questions. You have asked a question, let me answer you. If you are going to provide any system engineering, there's a margin of error.
Honorable Minister. Order. Honorable Member Fonkana, you've asked a question. Why don't you allow the minister to answer the question? Because now you've continued talking and answering and shouting. That is unbecoming of an honorable member. Honorable Member Fonkana, please restrain yourself. We all have emotions. Let's guard them. May the Honorable Minister continue. No points of order.
Madam Speaker, indeed I would like to answer the question. And all these questions must be devoid of abuse. You cannot abuse everyone. Madam Speaker, indeed, there was an unfortunate incident of J.J. Banda disappearing.
Honorable Member Fonkana, I don't know how many times I can advise you and guide you. Please restrain yourself. Allow the minister to answer the question. And do that in silence. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Madam Speaker, we have no evidence that any camera was switched off, as the member alleges. These cameras will not pick every minute element everywhere, including the cameras just here in this house. That's where I'm saying there are limits to these gadgets as well. Government, in fact, the police right now
Honorable
are
Member
actively...
for Kalulushi, please restrain yourself. How many times do you want to be sent out? This is an honorable house. You are an honorable member, so you should do honorable things. This debating while you are seated is not adding value to what we are doing, and is lowering the decorum and standing of this house. May the minister continue.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the time again. The question on the floor of the House is very, very clear. What measures government is implementing to enhance service delivery in the police service? I outlined several measures. And if you outline several measures to improve the situation, obviously it only means that the situation wasn't good at all in the beginning. We need to interrogate the measures put in place. Indeed, safe cities require that there are several cameras, but there will still be limits. That's why, on top of looking at the cameras and reviewing what happened before and during the time of the events, that is only supports the various investigations which are also put across. So it's not only cameras, it's also investigations. Madam Speaker, this is a very, very important question which must not be trivialized. Aspersions, casting aspersions with no proof at all, I think should be discouraged. This government is concerned when any death occurs, when anybody disappears. That's why you saw that the Minister of Home Affairs, the substantive Minister of Home Affairs, continuously gave us updates. The police themselves continuously gave updates. This government went all out to even take one of our members here, the member is referring to for him to get appropriate health care. This is a caring government. Yeah. And this government will ensure that every citizen, including every member of parliament in here, even the troublesome ones, are taken care of. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Maybe the Honorable Minister can withdraw the word troublesome ones.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw the word troublesome, but say repeat offenders. And Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Let's make progress. I said no more points of order. The Honorable Member for Luena had indicated, I said no point of order. The Honorable Member for Lumezi, you just indicated, please no point of order. Let's make some progress. The Honorable Member for Kabwata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, not too long ago, we actually witnessed how the police used to conduct themselves. They would actually even point a gun at an innocent citizen, a defenseless citizen. We saw how the police managed to also break into other people's houses and went and defecated in that house. Honorable Minister, I wanted to find out whether you are actually going to consider retraining some of these police officers and also build capacity, especially when it comes to fighting cybercrime. Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the Kabwata Member of Parliament for that very important question. And the examples abound. He says guns were pointed at innocent citizens. There's one member here, Tayari. Tayari underwent serious torture. These are things we do not want to come back to. And I want to confirm here, in no uncertain terms, in clear language, that yes, there will be training. Remember, this is a police service which was taka-taka. Cadres employed with no training. Whilst we ensure that there is good service delivery from our police service, we will ensure that we train them. We will ensure that we give them the basic requisites necessary for policing. This is the reason why this prudent government, this methodical government, has bought police vehicles in every constituency. Why? In fact, right now as I speak, maybe I'm a proud member of a rural constituency. Now we have a police vehicle. Never seen before in the last 20 years. Most of you here will attest to the fact that you had no police vehicles. Now you even have cruisers. Cruise. You have ambulances. Soon. What more can we ask, distinguished ladies and gentlemen? All of this is to ensure that services from the police are enhanced, that we have quality service. Ensuring that there's peace in the country is of paramount importance. It's the reason why you are seeing increased FDIs now. The economy is growing. We've restructured the debt. Honorable Musokotwane is able to increase the CDF. There's free education. All of this is to create the necessary atmosphere for economic growth. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Order. Let's tone down, honorable members. The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's beginning to become very difficult to have innocent discussions in this House. But I want to ask a very innocent question, and I hope the Minister will give me an innocent answer. Minister, one of the greatest challenges that police is having is to police communities that are densely populated. In my constituency, there are 2 wards where there's a combination of about 62,000 people in Chiwa and Kumara constituency, wards rather. Honorable Minister, I wanted to find out on community policing, why is the police not extending this to construction of police infrastructure in densely populated areas, such as Chiwa Ward and Kupumara Ward? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the senior counsel, and I have a lot of respect for this man. Whenever he stands up, the type of questions he asks are questions which are mature, which really teach us. It's good to acknowledge your fellow member of parliament. He teaches me a lot of things, that man. And that's a fact. Madam Speaker, again, getting your counsel, honorable member, senior counsel, the State Council in waiting. Densely populated areas, community policing is one of the measures to ensure that we enhance. And indeed, infrastructure development, I think coming up with the necessary infrastructure, police stations, is a point number 7, which I said currently government is undertaking investments in various infrastructure development projects for the police service. There are places where there's absolutely no infrastructure. These are on our radar, Honorable Member of Parliament, and if there are specific needs for Lukasha, I will indeed hand over the request to the substantive Minister of Home Affairs. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to ask a question. However, Madam Speaker, let me use this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Nkulukusa for being appointed Minister of Central Province. My neighbor. Madam Speaker, Chikankata has a population of 98,000 plus, and we have less than 10 policemen in the district. My question is the ratio of police against the general public sufficient enough to policing the nation? I submit.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Member of Chikankata for that very, very important question. And also let me join in congratulating Honorable Nkulukusa for his deserved appointment. Congratulations, sir. It's all deserved, the Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, on measures the Ministry is taking, measure number 3, recruitment of 2,000 constables to enhance staffing levels. I think I clearly stated that the Zambia Police is expected to improve service delivery across the country by increasing police presence to prevent crime and adding numbers of police. Further, Madam Speaker, I'm aware that an approval of 500 positions, the implementation of 500 promotion positions by the Management Development Division has also, will also enhance service delivery. Another point, Madam Speaker, to augment my answer is that police, maybe for the Member of Parliament, I want to inform her that police strength stands at 21,282. But the newly approved structure, Madam Speaker, has a structure of 36,000 positions. Government clearly recognized the deficiencies and has approved this structure. So we expect that more police officers will be sent to all areas of the country, including Chikankata. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nalolo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would just like to put it on record that I would like to commend our men in uniform. I don't think it's right to classify them as unprofessional. Madam Speaker, the police service has an issue with fuel. And I'll relate this to my own constituency. The police never have sufficient allocations of fuel. Now, in your appropriation or your budgeting as Ministry of Home Affairs, do you do this case by case based on the area? Because I can tell you now, Madam Speaker, if each time there's a murder or a case of suicide in Alolo West, the body can be there for 4 days because just there, everyone is looking at the body because the police has no fuel to go around because they have to go through Sioma and Shangom. Now, I have to foot that bill myself from my pocket so that that decomposed body should come to the mortuary. Now, how are you resolving this issue for constituencies that are so vast like Nalolo, 2 in 1, where for you to go to the other side, you have to take 7 hours, or a constituency like Mitete? So how are you working on this? Because this is a very big problem. Shangombo is a very big, by the way, Madam Speaker, in Western Province there's sand. So if you allocate the same allocation for this district in Eastern, the same in Western, we have a very, very, very big problem where we are dipping from our pockets to ensure that we keep sanity in the constituency. I submit.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me join the Honorable Member of Nalolo for really commending our men in uniform for the good job they are doing, particularly from the time the UPND government took over. We've seen professionalism in this service, so we can only encourage our men in uniform to continue doing the works. Government will support you with infrastructure, government will support you with more vehicles, government will support you with surveillance cameras, government will support you with all the items you need to ensure there is good policing in the country. I want to agree with the Member of Parliament for Nalolo that indeed issues of fuel and those days issues of receipt books were issues our policemen were advancing a lot. And we want to encourage them that now that they are more professional, let's ensure that we utilize the little resources we have prudently. However, Madam Speaker, there are also other aspects to this. In some areas, obviously, population growth, sometimes more cases than planned for in particular months. These obviously put a toll on the budget lines provided to the police. I heard somebody shouting that probably we should also be budgeting for some fuel under CDF. All of these measures, Madam Speaker, are measures which we are looking at to ensure that we improve the operational efficiency of the police service. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The last question will be from an independent, the Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Acting Minister of Home Affairs. Minister, I wanted to find out, because I think what you've alluded to, that we've got some of these CDF police vehicles, and police have got their own police boundaries. For example, in my constituency, you've got boundaries. Most of my police posts are under Ndola Central, which is a central police there, and not Masala. And you find that you bought a vehicle which is found only in Ndola Central and not in Bwana Mkubwa. How do you intend to mitigate these boundaries, even as we budget funds under CDF for police patrol, so that we can have visibility? I can see my neighbor is smiling there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Health and Internal Security, Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Let me thank the Member of Parliament for Bwana Mkubwa for that very, very important question. And indeed, this issue, Madam Speaker, cuts across many, many constituencies. Madam Speaker, I come from Nangoma constituency. It's one of the constituencies in Mumbwa district. And Mumbwa, where Honorable Nanjua is the town side. We have the challenge that most of the times our police vehicle is in Mumbwa. And we've made presentations to the Minister of Local Government, as well as the Minister of Home Affairs, to really see how we can effectively utilize these vehicles in our various constituencies. It's a problem which needs to be resolved. On one side, we've done very, very well by procuring these vehicles, but just like the CDF vehicles themselves, I think we need to enhance our management of these vehicles so that the constituencies themselves, like Bwana Mkubwa, like Nangoma constituency, benefit. Because most of the times, these vehicles are particularly in districts where there are two constituencies, you find that there are many in the urban part of the district. So we'll do everything possible, Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa, to see that that issue of raised is resolved. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The next question, the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Question number 400.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Education.
Chwela.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable MP for Chitambo asked the Minister of Education whether there are any secondary schools in Chitambo district that are earmarked for provision of internet connectivity. In B, if so, how many schools are earmarked for this exercise? And in C, what the names of the schools are? And in D, when the project will commence. Madam Speaker, in A, government provides internet connectivity to schools through the following channels. The first channel is through government institutions such as ZICTA, Zamren, Smart Zambia, and the Ministry of Education. Number two, through cooperating partners such as Liquid Intelligent Technologies, which has an MOU with government to connect 1,291 secondary schools to internet. Yes, Madam Speaker, there are secondary schools in Chitambo that are earmarked for the provision of internet connectivity through Liquid Intelligent Technologies through the MOU that has been signed. In B, under the stated MOU, 7 secondary schools in Chitambo district have been earmarked for internet connectivity. C, the names of the schools under these interventions are Justina Mukando Boarding, Justin Mukando Boarding, Pelembe, Mawonde, Kafinda, Chipata, Misumba, Lusengade Secondary School. And indeed, the project has commenced. So far, 889 secondary schools are in the advanced stage of being connected, of which 85 are fully connected. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I'm so grateful that government understands the importance of connecting schools to the internet, because schools of nowadays, children are learning ICT. Now, Madam Speaker, in the answer, the Minister has said that the project is in progress. May I find out from you, when you say it is in progress, where are we? Which school have we connected so far in Chitambo? Because the answer you've given me appeared to be on a countrywide side. You said it is in progress. Which school in Chitambo have you started working on, so that I might inform the people of Chitambo to be ready for this project? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, what we have said is that 7 schools are earmarked to be connected, and the plan is that the 7 schools will be connected by the end of the year. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lumezi.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity and the people of Lumezi to ask the Honorable Acting Minister. I emphasize on this particular one. Barituamsha sana wa mdaraba as independence. Madam Speaker.
Oh, the Honorable Member for Lumezi, what were you saying? We didn't hear what you were saying. You said it in vernacular. What were you meaning?
Madam Speaker, he used us as independents at some time when going to meet the Republican president and never got back to the independents. So it's an opportunity.
Is that a complaint? Are you now willing to work with the people on my right. Because even yesterday, the honorable member was saying, we are ready to be ministers, we are ready. Today he's saying he has never been taken. So if you are willing, you can discuss to the other side.
What
They will
happened,
take
Madam
you.
Speaker, is when he took us, he became a minister himself.
Ask your supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, through you, Honorable Acting Minister of Education, you've talked of cooperating partners. When will the cooperating partners join that team that is doing the ICTs in Chitambo? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think we will have a few crossovers soon. The Honorable Acting Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I'm quite sure the preamble to the question was on a light note. But the substantive question is, with the cooperating partners, in particular Liquid Intelligence, they are going to connect all the secondary school over a period of time. They will not only connect in Chitambo, we are going to connect all the constituencies throughout Zambia and all the secondary schools over a period of time. That is why we have said we are connecting 1,291 secondary schools, and those are the ones that have got currently in the Republic of Zambia. So it is all secondary schools. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, sorry, I might look like I want to press the minister against the wall, but it's just for information purposes, Madam Speaker. In your answer, Minister, you did respond that this project is in progress. And I asked you a question, which school has been connected or which one have you started? In your response, you said this project will end by December. Now my question again to you, Minister, is when are you starting to connecting these schools in Chitambo so that I inform them they become ready for the connections? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, we are very specific. We said 85 countrywide have already been connected. Another 489 have been earmarked for connection this year. And out of those, the 7 are in Chitambo. These are the ones that are earmarked for connection this year. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The schools were named, but maybe the Honorable Member wanted to know, when are you commencing? You are saying it will end in end of this year, but when are you starting the connectivity for the 7 schools?
Madam Speaker, the dates I could not say because it's being done by our cooperating partner. They have got a schedule of connectivity across the country. If the Member of Parliament wants the specific dates, then they can contact the Minister of Education. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, just like in Chitambo, Chama South has about 4 secondary schools. Notable one is Chama South Boarding, which has more than 600 pupils. And these pupils from grade 10 to 12, they don't know what internet is. We made a decision after you promised all members of Parliament that we will receive Starlink. Madam Speaker, you remember. And we were very excited, Honorable Minister. You promised us next week you will start receiving Starlink. That next week has now turned into 6 months. When are you giving us those Starlink kits, which were meant for our constituency offices, some of us have made the decision to share with the such schools so that our pupils, while we are waiting for those secondary school connectivity, can start having internet connectivity. Because you promised us, Honorable Minister, and I don't know who has received that Starlink kit. We have not, some of us. It's only you in Lusaka. When can we have those so that they cushion while we are waiting for those school connectivity, internet access? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Although the question is not related to this, but since the Honorable Minister is also in charge of science and technology, and since all the members are interested in the Starlink, I'll give him an opportunity to answer. The Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, we did commit as government that we're going to give a Starlink kit to every member of Parliament, and indeed that commitment has been delivered. We delivered 156 kits to Parliament, ICT department, and it's up to the members of Parliament just to take a short walk to the ICT department here at Parliament to get their Starlink kit. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable is walking to the ICT department already. Okay, so honorable members, maybe just for the purposes of information, there is a process of installation. Right now, there are 2 teams that are doing installations in the northern province. So the honorable minister has delivered. It's just the process of installation. And also, honorable members, please do take interest. Liaise with the clerk's office to see when yours is going to be installed. So on that note, we can make progress, because I know the honorable member for Bwacha will be the last one.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And thank you so much, Minister, for the responses provided so far. And in one of your responses, Minister, you indicated that so far, 85 schools have been connected to the internet. Through you, Madam Speaker, is it possible for the Minister of Science and Technology, or Technology and Science, to make available a list, Madam Speaker, to the honorable members of Parliament, so that we are moving at the same pace with the ministry in knowing the schools which have been connected to the internet in our provinces, districts, and also in our constituencies. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, that is straightforward. Just as we delivered Starlink at Parliament, we want to urge members of Parliament that they make just a little effort to do the next step. We shall provide you the list of the secondary schools that have been fully connected for your information. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, take interest to make a follow-up and get the list if you are really keen to know which schools are going to be connected. So let's make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Chilubi.
401, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Fube, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chilubi, to ask the Minister of Transport and Logistics whether the government has any plans to clear canals leading to the following wards in Chilubi parliamentary constituency. Number 1, Katamba. 2, Chishiba. 3, Wumba. 4. Luangwa, 5. Kanama, 6. Mabemba, 7. Chinkundu, 8. Chilava, and 9. Mofu. In Part B, Madam Speaker, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the cost of the project is, and D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in response to the question raised by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Chilubi Island, Chilubi Parliamentary Constituency, I wish to inform this August House as follows. A, Government has plans to clear all canals countrywide, including in Chilubi districts, leading to the said wards, to ease the movement of passengers and cargo. B, plans will be implemented once resources are made available, as this was not budgeted for in the 2024 budget. Further, since the development and management of canals is in the process of being devolved to the local authorities, government will consider making provisions for the dredging of canals in the affected wards through constituency development funds under Chilubi constituency. C, the estimated cost of the project will be determined once an assessment is conducted. D, as earlier stated in response in A above, government does have plans. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Since the Minister in his answering has limited the question to dredging, if I got him rightly, and which he said that should be given to the local authorities, is the Ministry also considering boosting the local authorities with a wider vista, looking at the type of the topography that we have in Chilubi, which includes swamps, the island, as well as the mainland? Because even the wards that have been mentioned, the 9 wards out of the 24 wards that have been mentioned there, some of them are in the swamps, some of them are on the island, and others are on the mainland. So is the Ministry considering boosting the local authority with a wider vista, especially that we have also weeds in these canals?
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for the follow-up question. Just suffice to say, Madam Speaker, that the Honourable Member must embrace change. It is the policy of this government to devolve the functions of clearing of waterways, and wheat harvesting is part of that process, that apart from dredging, we must also make sure that the waterways are clear of weeds. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Mandevu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I also join those that have congratulated the Member of Parliament for Katuba for his appointment as Central Province Minister. We are proud of you, Mwine Chish. Minister, you've said that you are in the process of devolving this function to the Ministry of Local Government, and that has not happened yet. Now that the Honourable Member has brought this to your attention, are you considering putting up a budget for the clearing of these canals in the 2025 budget so that we appropriate resources towards this function? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
No, Madam Speaker.
Maybe if you could amplify your answer, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, when you say that we are in the process of devolving, that process has already started in earnest. Handovers are already taking place. This is a function that shall now be under the ministry, rather the local authorities. And so the Honourable Member would do well to actually engage the local authority and make plans Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bangweru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you've simply told this House that the process of devolving this function from a minister to the local government is in process. And meanwhile, our people need to move from point A to point B. So are there any immediate interventions that you can put in place to ensure that our people have access from point A to point B so that goods and services can continue to be moved? Any immediate interventions as we wait for that process to be culminated into a complete transfer of functions? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Perhaps now this is becoming a matter of semantics. These functions have been devolved, Madam Speaker, and that, it has been expected that budgets for these, dredging and clearing of canals, of weeds, should really have now been embraced by the local authority. As a ministry, as far as we are concerned, we have actually handed over. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. So, Honorable Member, follow up with the local authority, looks like. The Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Well, Speaker, before I ask my question, let me clarify that the Minister gave an impression that I'm against devolution, which is not the case, because he said I should embrace change. I've been an advocate of devolution before I came to Parliament. Madam Speaker, my question is that the Minister did mention that CDF is the main, funds that the local government is going to bank on once this devolution takes place. From his answer, and I think looking at what's true, the canals that are involved there, they are seriously capital projects. We have tried to use CDF at a smaller scale. It has not helped, and that's why we said that currently the Minister maybe may find out that we have cleared Chava Muchish Canal using the dredger that is there, which we used CDF, and it has just been a drop in the ocean. Given that background, Madam Speaker, I want the Minister to maybe inform the people of Chilubi how the fiscal devolution will be handled. Is the government going to budget or capitalize the local authority away from the CDF fund, which I can attest that cannot do the quantity of work that is involved in those 9 wards canals?
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you to the Honourable Member for the follow-up question. Madam Speaker, first of all, just to object that I did not say or state that these functions will be wholly absorbed by CDF. I think that the nature of CDF is such that, individual constituencies prioritize their own needs. And in the case of Chilubi, I do appreciate that, water transport is extremely important going by the nature of the terrain there. And so CDF is merely there to supplement that which the local authority is supposed to be doing on behalf of the people. And I don't think that I also agree when the Honourable Member speaks of the colossal sums of monies that are involved, because I don't think that at this particular moment we are talking about purchase of this equipment to carry out such functions. That is not the case, because equipment is already there. It is the operationalization, the financing, in terms of purchase of perhaps fuels to be able to carry out these particular tasks. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The last question will be from the Honourable Member for Kanchibia.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, the water bodies with Chilubi are joined with ours. As a matter of interest, when does the Minister plan to tour and to visit these water bodies? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable
Are there plans by the minister to tour these water bodies?
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics, you are being invited to go and visit these canals.
In a canal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for that open invitation. As a matter of fact, I depart for Zambia tomorrow in my quest to really appreciate some of the things that are happening around these water bodies. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Notes of motion, the Honourable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Zambia delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum, SADC PF Plenary Assembly hosted by the Parliament of Angola in Luanda, Angola from 1st to 7th July 2024. The report was laid on the table of the House on 24th July 2024.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, it is seconded.
Seconded by the Honourable Member for Chifunabuli. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum, SADC PF, plenary held in from the 1st to the 7th of July 2024 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. Any debate? The Honourable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 154 of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, I wish to render a report on the activities of the 55th Plenary Assembly Session as well as an executive summary highlighting the key recommendations made by the Assembly. Madam Speaker, the 55th Plenary Assembly Session convened under the theme, The Role of Parliaments in Promoting Renewable Energy Policies in the SADC region and Creating a Single Regional Energy Market. The theme was intended to strengthen the institutional capacity of national parliaments to understand policies, regulatory frameworks for renewable energy in the SADC region with inherent advantages for economies and citizens of the SADC region. Madam Speaker, the objectives of the Plenary Assembly were to, among others, emphasize the crucial role played by parliamentary institutions such as the SADC PF and the national parliaments in boosting the adoption and implementation of renewable energy policies in the SADC region. Discuss the potential of renewable energies to catalyze socio-economic development, mitigate the impacts of climate change, and promote energy independence in the SADC region, and identify strategies to improve cross-border cooperation, public-private partnerships, and stakeholder engagements to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and achieve global objectives of improving energy access, security, and efficiency in the SADC region. Madam Speaker, the plenary was officially opened by the President of the SADC Parliamentary Forum and Speaker of the National Assembly of Seychelles, Honorable Roger Mancien, who reminded members of Parliament that the pressing realities of climate change and the global energy transition require urgent sustainable energy solutions. In this regard, renewable energy policies are essential for reducing the carbon footprint by significantly reducing reliance on fossil fuels, enhancing energy security, and driving economic growth within the region. Honorable Mancien observed that by creating a single regional energy market, SADC will harness the collective potential of member states, promote greater cooperation and efficiency in energy production and distribution. Honorable Mansien also congratulated Zambia for being the 11th country to sign the agreement amending the SADC treaty to establish the SADC Parliament. As this August House is aware, the agreement was signed by Zambia on the sidelines of the 55th Plenary Assembly by the Honorable Minister of Justice, Honorable Princess Kasune MP. The Honorable Minister was designated by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, pursuant to Article 92, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of Zambia, Chapter 1 of the Laws of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I now wish to highlight some of the key recommendations contained in the report. The Plenary Assembly, Madam Speaker, resolved to promote renewable energy policies and create a unified single energy market by utilizing the untapped potential of renewable sources in the SADC region and prioritizing key projects such as the Inga Dam hydroelectric project in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the use of nuclear power to generate electricity. Madam Speaker, there is need for scientific research into community-based renewable energy projects. Member states should benchmark and adopt progressive systems that combine solar power and biogas to provide electricity to rural areas and in the process drive community involvement. This resolution by the Plenary Assembly seeks to replicate successive models, ensuring financial, technical and regulatory support from governments to foster local renewable energy initiatives. Madam Speaker, further, Plenary recognized Angola's progress towards becoming Africa's green energy bank and adopted the resolution to leverage mapping studies for identifying renewable energy potential. With substantial potential in solar, wind and hydropower, Angola serves as a model for other member states. A good example is the massive and extensive biopower solar photovoltaic park with 500,000 solar panels in Benguela, south of Angola. The solar park produces 188.8 megawatts of clean energy to more than 2 million people. Honorable members who were on the delegation can agree that this is an impressive sight. In this regard, Plenary Assembly called for regional collaboration to maximize renewable energy capacity and create a sustainable energy network with the SADC region. Madam Speaker, as I have already alluded to, Zambia signed the agreement amending the SADC Treaty on the transformation of the SADC PF into a fully fledged regional parliament. Recognizing the crucial role of a regional parliament institution in fostering democracy, good governance, and socio-economic development, Plenary adopted the resolution to intensify and finalize efforts for the transformation of the forum to align the region with other African regional blocs and anchor it firmly with the Pan-African Parliament. All the members of the delegation are hopeful that this agenda will be achieved in the shortest possible time. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to express profound gratitude on behalf of the delegation to the 55th Plenary Assembly, to you and the Clerk of National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to it during the undertaking. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chifunavuli.
Madam Speaker, I would like to thank you for according me the opportunity to second this important motion. Allow me from the outset to thank Honorable Kalalwe Mkosa, Member of Parliament for Chinsali, for ably moving the motion. As rightly stated by the mover, the 55th Plenary Assembly deliberated on the theme, the role of Parliament in promoting renewable energy policies in the SADC region and creating a single region energy market. And it was held in Angola from the 1st to the 7th of July 2024. The theme was timely and relevant because it was responding to the challenges that the Southern African Development Community SADC region continue to face, and has since caused an electricity crisis since the early 2000s due to demographic growth and considerable progress in industrial infrastructure. Madam Speaker, in seconding this motion, allow me to state that participating in this symposium and conference in general confirmed and reminded me that the climate change challenges are not peculiar to Zambia, but the whole region and globally as well. The effects of climate change have incapacitated most electricity management bodies due to the fact that to a great degree, the energy generating bodies depend on natural resources such as hydro and solar supply. Therefore, as Zambians, instead of bemoaning the situation, government must begin to research and invest in alternative energy. Madam Speaker, I would like to submit that further to the mover's submission, climate change continues to pose significant challenges. Hence, it is crucial that as a government responds to build resilience, adaptation measures should be gender sensitive. Women are often the worst affected by climate change related disasters, as evidenced by the current El Nino-induced droughts affecting several SADC member states. Parliament should take proactive steps to ensure that women are not affected and that they have a voice in climate-related decision-making process. This may entail the executive linking small-medium enterprises to microfinancing institutions, providing tax liberties on alternative energy equipment, and empowering local people with the necessary knowledge on the alternative energies. Madam Speaker, as the mover indicated, the standing committees submitted their statutory meeting report during the plenary assembly that highlighted pertinent matters that are affecting our region. Just to elaborate further on the mover's submission, I would like to mention that the Standing Committee on Food, Agriculture, Natural Resources explained key recommendations about how Parliament can strengthen food security and sustainable agriculture, enhance sexual reproductive health outcomes, and govern natural resources effectively. On the other hand, Madam Speaker, the Standing Committee on Human and Social Development and Special Programs also highlighted progressive recommendation on how Parliament can advance the AU Agenda 2040 for children, strengthening Parliament engagement for child-centered registration and policies. Madam Speaker, in the interest of time, let me wind up my debate by taking advantage of this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to attend the 55th SADC PF Assembly. In addition, I would like also to congratulate you, Madam Speaker, for Zambia being the 11th SADC country to accede to the agreement to amend the treaty soon after the official opening of the Assembly. Finally, allow me to extend the congratulatory message to the Democratic Republic of Congo, who also acceded post the plenary assembly in Angola, thereby reaching the desired 12 signatures threshold. Madam Speaker, with these few remarks, I beg to second.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would first like to appreciate that Zambia was part of the parliamentary forum that gathered to discuss renewable energy issues. Madam Speaker, my mind is occupied with the theme. The theme was talking about Parliament promoting renewable energy policies to an extent where this should collapse into the single market. And I think we are talking about markets before we address the potential. Madam Speaker, I tend to believe that much of the research was done on hydropower, as the report can indicate that globally, SADC region contributes to about 10,000, as in terms of 1,080 terawatts per hour per year. But when you look at that, only 31 terawatts per hours per year that is being used. Madam Speaker, that's a very sad story if we are to look at this, especially when we want to view this into the lenses of an energy mix, renewable energy approach. I note that whereas we talk about thermal energy in the same report, which mainly covers the Rift Valley of Tanzania, Mozambique and Malawi, where you are talking about 4,000 megawatts, we overlook the issues of biogas. We overlook the potential of wind in the SADC region as a source of renewable energy, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, again what comes to mind is the more than 20 years protocol on this particular subject, which was there in 1996, which to me has been overtaken by events, in that when you look at what has been occurring in where we are supposed to tap, especially hydropower, we will talk about the Kaborabasa Dam. We will talk about the overflow of the Zambesi Basin into the Kaborabasa. A lot of things have happened. And given that scenario, it means that what was stipulated in the protocol is not even responding to the COPs that we have attended as a nation. COP26, COP27, it's not resonating with there. And this also does not match with the local policies on renewable energy. I noticed that we have highlighted some of the projects that are there in other countries that are talking about how they have utilized renewable energy path. But Zambia has massive renewable energy path. And I wish that when next time, when the delegation goes there, we should be talking about something that we should also present, that this is what is happening in Zambia. Madam Speaker, allow me to also talk about the issues of climate awareness and the early warning systems. Climate awareness, Madam Speaker, in these SADC countries is very low and does not include community participation. You find that the issues of climate awareness are only understood at a level of those that are educated. My mother or my grandmother in the village does not understand what climate awareness is. They will cut firewood now, they will burn when the grass is ready and it's dried up, they will simply burn, even for no reason. Not for mice or anything, but they will simply burn. And I think this is a signal that we have a lot to do. Madam Speaker, again I want to talk about the early warning systems. We know that the instrument that we use mainly in Zambia is that of DMMU. And the DMMU has become of course coupled with meteorological department and many other, we have seen that even the El Nino that we are facing currently, I think it was quite widespread. But I think it's a situation where you are warned and then you relax and you take a laissez-faire approach to that effect. But everything, I think, should take a bottom-up approach in terms of community participation. Because if this is just left within the domain of the educated, then the people actually that deplete the natural resources to an extent where we risk ecological damage, we will see that it's the majority of them, and not those that have not been even to school, because they do not understand. And these factors that are linked to the renewable energy mix are also linked to the economy. And this has to be unbundled to the lowest level of understanding. So that at the end of the day, when we have an opportunity to go there and present such a picture, we will be talking about a picture that we can defend. Madam Speaker, I don't need to underscore that all the SADC countries that gather there have massive capacity for renewable energy, including biomass and wind. Madam Speaker, let me also venture into talking about what is on page 2, which to me links to our constitution of the roles we play as members of parliament here. I think you attended the launch on the SADC PF strategic plan, which is for 2024 to 2028, Madam Speaker. And among other things that it was supposed to do is representation, registration and budget and oversight role, Madam Speaker. I think we have a role to play in this renewable energy. And how we can influence is to look at model roles, so that at the end of the day, we do have a fortified front in looking at renewable energy issues. Madam Speaker, I also want to underscore that renewable energy is also connected to a right-based approach, which this Parliament should equally embrace in taking on board the roles that are stipulated in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, we are simply talking about the issue of sustainable development. But when we look at what has been localized, we are still using the sustainable development goals that was developed at international level, and we have not churned out local policies and legislative measures that can help us locally. We need to think globally and act locally. And I think, given this background, Madam Speaker, we are behind in that we need to venture, when we are thinking renewable energy, we should think sustainable development, because sustainable development is so much linked to nature. Madam Speaker, with those few words, the people of Chile would like to submit that they support the report.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kamfinso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this debate. Madam Speaker, can I commence when we resume at 17 hours?
Just continue, Honourable Member. When the time is appropriate.
My flow will be affected, Madam Speaker. Yeah.
Oh, you are looking at the time.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Just start to... just start.
Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, my flow will be affected.
Order. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon, and thank you for still watching Parliament Television. Business has been suspended for 20 minutes break, and at the time business was being suspended, Kamfinsa, a Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangomba, was just about to start debating to a motion that was moved earlier by Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, who is Chinsali Member of Parliament, urging that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum Plenary Assembly held in Luanda, Angola from 1st to 7th July 2024 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. And so when business resumes after the break, we do expect Mr. Kangombe to continue with his debate. And this motion was seconded by Chief Navuli Member of Parliament, that is Ms. Juliet Niemba. And so far we have seen Chilubi Member of Parliament debate to this motion, that is Mr. Mlenga Fube. Joe, we look at business that has been considered from the time business resumed at 14:30.
Yes, indeed. So from the time business resumed at 14:30, Madam Speaker did make one announcement in which she did recognize that the presence in the public gallery pupils and teachers from Akwaya Academy in Chongwe District, and on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker did warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
And thereafter, the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development did present the Kazungula Bridge Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2024, and this bill has been considered at first reading stage. It has been referred to the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply, and the committee is expected to bring the report to the House on Thursday, 1st August 2024.
Yes, and the House also did consider 4 questions for all answer understanding order 8 questions of ordinary nature, and to be able to give you the details when a business is concluded for today. So right now we go for a break. Stay glued to Parliament Television, the station that brings Parliament closer to you. Good afternoon.
My name is Charles Abel Mlenga, born 59 years away. Went to school in the early 70s at Kampemba Primary School. That was in 1971, where I did my grade 1 up to grade 7. And then later on went to do my secondary education in Northern Province at Mbala Secondary, where I completed in 1983. After that, I went to PTC Training College. Now it's called the Zamtel Telecommunication Company Training College, where I did my accounts. That time it was ZADEC. After leaving that school, I went to do my advanced certificate in marketing at CBU, and later on I went to do my diploma course in business administration at the University of Zambia. I'm married and I've got 5 children. Soon after I finished my education, I was employed by Zambia Postal Services Corporation, where I worked for a period of about 15 years. I was working in an international department for parcels, where I rose up to the position of superintendent parcels. After retiring, I was engaged into various entrepreneur activities as a businessman up until I decided to join politics about 12 years ago. And when the UPND wanted a candidate to stand on parliamentary ticket for Kwacha. Kwacha constituency is a vast constituency, and I may segment it into 2 sectors. There is the urban sector as well as the peri-urban sector.
the peri-urban sector, that is the area across Kafue River in a place called the Chantete Ward, which is quite vast and it has a lot of arable land. The other side of the constituents across on the other side of Kwacha constituents, it has 6 wards, which is more peri-urban, rather urban setup. And these are Kwacha constituents, Kwacha ward, Bulangirilo ward, Ipusukilo ward, Riverside ward, Musonda ward, and Luwa ward. These constituencies have a larger population. As you are aware, these are wards that are predominantly on the copper belt, and we have a lot of people that have settled in these wards, 7 of them. So obviously with an increased population, we expect people to have a lot of needs. Needs to do with water, needs to do with good roads, needs to do with education, as well as health facilities, including security in terms of policing of the area mentioned. So as the area member of parliament, I've got a huge task lying ahead of me to ensure that this population, which is almost close to 200,000 or beyond that, they need to be serviced, by this government through concerted effort. My office, the office surrounding governance system, DC, and many other offices. But speaking specifically for my office, I have a challenge, especially to do the road network. The Kwacha requires the infrastructure in terms of good roads. The roads that are currently there, they are in dilapidated state. And if we talk of across, as I mentioned, Chantete, this is an area that has lagged behind in terms of development. There are no roads, and us as the responsible government, the UPND government, would like to ensure that we first and foremost work on the roads. Because once we open up the roads, then we are assured that development will start trickling in. So as a matter of urgency and as a matter of importance, we have prioritized road networks in my constituents, that we start working on the roads. And ideally what we've done is to first and foremost procure earth-moving equipments, so that once we have our own equipments, then it will be much easier for us to engage into road works and road constructions in my area. Then secondly, we are looking at water. It's a vast area, as I've mentioned, and part of my constituents, which is across Kafue River, they don't have services that are provided by Nkana Water and Sewerage, which is a company that provides water in Kitwe. So the challenge that I have is to ensure that we put quite a number of boreholes in this vast area, because the creating of a company that can start giving clean water to this vast area, it may take a bit of some time, because these are big undertakings, capital projects that will require a lot of resources. So in absence of that, we want to move in and start providing clean drinking water through provision of boreholes in that part of my constituency. We are looking at many areas with increased development in CDF. Number one, what we want to do is to ensure that schools that are missing, especially in Chantede, you realize that I'm emphasizing on Chantete because this is one area that has been neglected. It's a vast area, it has nothing completely. So we want part of a larger chunk of CDF, increased allocation of this CDF, to go towards the creation of schools, putting up of schools, both primary and secondary, including tertiary, if more finances can allow us, so that as many of our children as possible can actually access education. And secondly, we also want to put up health facilities in our area, looking at the increment in population in my constituents. A lot of people would want to have access of medical facilities. And if you look at medical facilities, the clinics that we have, a lot of people cannot access certain services. For instance, maternity. We have people that are accessing maternity services from my area going into other constituencies like in Kana. So with this increased allocation of CDF, I think it is going to help us to ensure that these facilities like health facilities, which we do not have in our wards, most of these wards, we are going to put up those clinics. And apart from that, those health health posts that we have, the clinics, we are going to make sure that we expand them. There's a clinic in Riverside which is offering health services to quite a number of people. So this is going to be considered to be expanded, you know, to level 1 clinic, so that we can accommodate, you know, in an environment that will be able to satisfy the people that are frequenting this particular clinic to go and get medical attention. And in any other areas where we have these clinics, we are going to make sure that we expand them, you know, and include services that are not there, like maternity especially. Areas like Bulangililo Clinic, areas like Kwacha Clinic, these are going to be expanded so that we can, you know, accommodate as many people as possible to go and access medical attention. Other than that, we want to make sure that we support our communities, especially the youths and women, in terms of empowerment programs. Empowering our youths, empowering the women, it will reduce, of course, the tension. It will reduce, of course, the burden on the government. Because ideally right now, things may not sound well in terms of economic activities. We are looking at the mines right now. The mines are not doing well. So if at all we empower our youths through various programs, they are going to ensure that they start engaging themselves in active arrangements which will keep them busy, and at the same time it will motivate them and also ensure that they start getting something out of what they will be doing. So empowerment programs, which is part of the CDF funding, there's a component there about 5 million which should go towards the youths, ensuring that they are given skills. You know, we train them, we give them skills. Once they are done with these skills, they will be able to engage into productive ventures. Also women, there's another component for women where we are allocating 5 million to be able to help them in various ventures. They can start small businesses, for instance, out of the money that they can request from CDF funding. Once they start, you know, participating in various business ventures, you will find that as a woman, once you give a woman, you empower the household. So that way it will reduce, you know, pressure in most households in Kwacha constituents. So as a member of parliament, I would like to have these issues to be addressed so that the kwacha that I found, I should leave it at a better level, at a better stage. And I want to work extremely hard, that we not only train the youths of Kwacha through skills development, but we also ensure that they are given opportunities once they are trained to go and work in other sectors what the government is going to create in terms of employment opportunities. And once they start working in these in various fields after they have attained their skills, of course the levels of poverty that we may be currently having in the constituency, it will actually reduce tremendously. There's a lot that we want to do, but we can only do this if at all we are united, because in unity there is diverse, and once we start working together as a team, we are going to achieve a lot. And once we achieve a lot, there is credit obviously for all of us. The people out there, they will benefit from the development that will come, and even the government, it is going to benefit positively, because that will increase the revenue base from the monies that will be coming from activities on the ground there. The government will also benefit in terms of revenue correction from those activities. So once again, it's an appeal to everyone in Kwacha constituency. Let us put political divergent views away and concentrate on developing Kwacha.
In a significant development, government has reaffirmed its dedication to combating corruption following the ministerial statement issued by the Vice President Mutale Nalumango. And so this particular statement was prompted by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti's directives.
1. Revision of the anti-corruption policy. The new Dawn administration revised the National Anti-Corruption Policy in 2023. The policy provides a framework for preventing and combating corruption in a comprehensive, coordinated and inclusive manner.
And so government has maintained a zero-tolerance stance on corrupt practices despite challenges faced.
In this regard, support is being provided to the law enforcement agencies, the judiciary, and oversight institutions in terms of law reform and enhanced budgetary provisions.
And so the ministerial statement outlined strict measures to safeguard anti-corruption efforts, demonstrating the government's resolve to tackle corruption head-on. And so government's action reinforced its pledge to maintain a corruption-free environment, ensuring that those involved in corrupt practices are held accountable. And so the National Assembly is an important organ of the government that continues to provide information that is crucial for the development of Zambia. Keep watching.
Watching Parliament Television. Shortly we will be crossing back for the live parliamentary proceedings. The House is on a 20 minutes break, and we do expect business to resume at 17 hours. And at the time business was suspended for the 20 minutes break, under consideration was a report that was moved by Mr. Kaladwe Mukosa, urging that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum Plenary Assembly held in Rwanda. Just now we take you to the floor of the House.
Mr. Speaker.
Bells are still ringing, meaning a quorum has not yet been constituted. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of parliament needs to be present for business to be transacted on the floor of the House. And like I was saying earlier on, we do expect a debate to resume on a report that was moved by Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, urging that the House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum Plenary Assembly held in Luanda, Angola, from 1st July to 7th July 2024 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. And we do expect Kamfinsa Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, to resume his debate to this report.
Yes, I also expect Mrs. Marjorie Nakaponda to move a motion urging the House to adopt the report over the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee on the capitalization of artificial intelligence to enhance efficiency in the Zambia Parliament for the third session over the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table over the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024. The House has also so far considered 4 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80.
And earlier on in business resumed, Madam Speaker did make an announcement in which she recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Acquire Academy in Chongwe District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly. So bells are still ringing, meaning a quorum has not yet been constituted. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of parliament need to be present for business to be transacted on the floor of the House. So once a quorum is constituted, business will resume, and we do expect business to resume on.
Yes, so at the time business was suspended, the House was considering a motion moved by Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, sincerely Member of Parliament, urging the House to adopt the report over the Zambia delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum SADC PF Plenary Assembly held in Luanda, Angola from 1st to 7th July 2024 for the third session over the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. So we expect Mr. Christopher Kangombe to continue debating this motion.
When business was suspended, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Chinsali that this House adopts a report of the Zambian delegation to 55th Southern African Development Parliamentary Forum, SADC PF, Plenary Assembly held in Rwanda, Angola, from 1st to 7th July 2024 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. And the Honorable Member for Kafinsa was about to start debating. May the Honorable Member continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a few comments on this report. Mr. Speaker, the motion is requesting this House to adopt this report. Mr. Speaker, we are not able to adopt this report without making a few comments. And these comments, Mr. Speaker, I think they are meant to enrich what has already been drafted. The theme of the conference that took place in Angola, Mr. Speaker, is what attracted me to read this report as well as make the comments that I wish to comment. There are about 19 pages of this report, Mr. Speaker. These 19 pages, there is only one page, Mr. Speaker, which is talking to the theme of the conference, where a Zambian delegation traveled to represent our country. And this page is only page 7. The theme, Mr. Speaker, reads, "The role of parliaments in promoting renewable energy policies in the SADC region and creating a single regional energy market." Mr. Speaker, that is the theme of this conference that took place in Angola. And out of 19 pages, only one page is talking about what was discussed in relation to the theme. And this is on page 7. And this is why, Mr. Speaker, I wish to make the following comments. The meeting recommended 3 things, Mr. Speaker. 1, enhanced collaboration. And the last sentence reads, the need for cross-border energy trade, meaning Zambia exporting electricity, Zambia importing electricity, depending on which country has excess energy. Bullet number 2, enhanced resource mobilization and exploring innovative financing mechanisms. And the last bullet is about lawmakers having the capacity to develop the correct regulations. Mr. Speaker, my concern, which should be the concern of everyone who's gathered here this afternoon, is obviously the price of alternative sources of energy. Currently, our country is facing challenges of provision of electricity, and we expect that the economy is supposed to remain moving at a correct pace and be able to support our SMEs and be able to support the growth of our economy. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the issue to do with the pricing of alternative sources of energy, I thought would have been a great opportunity in this report, that somewhere in the 19 pages, there would have been conversations that would have taken place to discuss the issue of the pricing for alternative sources of energy. And I will give a practical example, Mr. Speaker. We are encouraging people to use liquid petroleum gas, liquefied petroleum gas, which is commonly referred to as LPG. If you go today in Kitwe, Mr. Speaker, there's actually a critical shortage of LPG. You go to Oryx filling station, you're looking for LPG, they don't have, because suddenly the demand for LPG has gone up, but it is only those who are able to afford LPG, Mr. Speaker, that are able to buy LPG. Meaning the rest of the people that want to do their cooking will either resort to buying charcoal, or they will begin complaining that load shedding has affected their day-to-day activities. I expected this report to deal with that particular component. One alternative source of energy is liquefied petroleum gas. How do we deal with it? Because the theme of the conference was alternative energy. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the minister responsible for energy is mindful of the fact that our people out there are not able to afford the high cost of liquefied petroleum gas. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the issue to do with solar energy and the full kit that you need to put into your home. Because if I was to ask my dear colleagues who are seated in this auditorium today, how many have actually managed to afford to connect their homes to solar? There are high chances that majority, Mr. Speaker, have not been able to because of one simple reason. You need to get an inverter. You need to buy the 2 batteries, and now the recommended battery is a lithium battery, which is not a very cheap battery. The question that I ask myself is how many homes, if those who are able to earn a salary are not even able to afford this full set, inverter, solar panels, and the 2 lithium batteries. What about the poor people out there in our respective communities? I expected this report, Mr. Speaker, to address the issue of pricing of alternative sources of energy. Because we want to encourage our people to have renewable sources of energy to use. But Mr. Speaker, how many people are able to afford? So as I support this report on the other things that have been captured, because the other things are important, but for me my concern is that a Zambian delegation travels to Angola to deal with a specific issue. The issue is, can we encourage people to start using alternative sources of energy? And it recognizes Parliament as a critical platform to begin those conversations. But only one page, Mr. Speaker, is talking about alternative sources of energy. I think we could have done more with the report, and I hope that the Minister, at a time when he comes to respond, if there will be a comment that has to be made, the issue I wish to bring to the floor of this House is how many of our people are able to afford LPG. There's a shortage of LPG, 15 kg, 4 kg, you will not find them available today, because those that are able to afford, yes, they are able to buy, but what about the wider majority who are not able to afford? Mr. Speaker, and lastly, the issue of solar energy. I hope that interventions are being put in place to ensure that when we make these products available for our people, they are able to buy the solar panels that are needed, the inverter that is needed, as well as the 2 lithium batteries. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support this report, because it has to be adopted, and we need to be seen to be all reasonable in ensuring that the work is not disputed, but I think we could have done more, considering the purpose for which the Zambian delegation traveled. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Sesheke. The Honourable Member for Kabata. The Honourable Member for Kanchivia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow us to debate in support of this very important motion. And we are going to debate this motion in the context of rural communities and the rural constituency that I represent. Starting with the role that members of Parliament could play in promoting renewable energy, again, allow us to contextualize and speak through the lenses of rural areas. Number one, we believe, Mr. Speaker, that it is important for this House to advocate for policies and legislation supporting renewable energy development, which also favors the interests but also responds to the challenges, unique challenges of rural communities. It is important that this House, and in working with the government, we allocate more resources for renewable energy projects and initiatives. Mr. Speaker, our role should also involve, from our end as legislators, pushing and encouraging for private-public partnerships for rural energy infrastructure. This would also mean more support for RIA, but over and beyond, more support towards PPP for rural energy infrastructure. Tapping into the academia, Mr. Speaker, it's important that we encourage institutions of learning to engage in research and ensure that we have development of new renewable energy initiatives and technologies. This is a challenge, Mr. Speaker, that our institutions of learning, even the lower ones, primary schools, secondary schools, could respond to. The JETs, for example, junior engineers and technicians and scientists should also be recognized and brought to the center stage to start imagining what renewable energy technologies can we invent for rural communities.
Mr. Speaker, it's important for this House to pay particular attention to advocating and pushing for more grid expansion and modernization to expand and accommodate rural energy, renewable energy. It is important that renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, responds to our needs in rural areas for a simple reason, that some of us come from areas where we have 4 chiefdoms and we have an entire chiefdom with no single electric bulb. And we are aware and alive to the challenges of climate change and what comes with hydro-generated power. The need for us to go into renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, becomes very important because then we have an avenue for providing energy access for lighting, heating, and power for our rural communities. These would also create jobs in installation, maintenance, and manufacturing in rural areas. We can also stimulate local economies if we invest in renewable energy for rural communities. We can enhance food security if we can invest in renewable energies, and I speak to irrigation and I also speak to agriculture processing. Improving healthcare and education is critical through reliable renewable energy, Mr. Speaker. And so this matter for us becomes very important, that even as we respond to the challenges of energy and the energy deficit at national level, we start thinking not just outside the box. We begin to think away from the box because, Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the box doesn't exist anymore. We need to think outside the box, bring the academia on board, bring institutions of learning on board, and also become a nation that prioritizes research. At the moment, Mr. Speaker, if you look at what we allocate towards research as a country, the paltry allocation we give to research speaks to the lack of seriousness we attach to new innovations around technologies that must spur industrialization and unlock rural communities for productivity. Renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, becomes critical, and all of us as members of parliament have a duty to advocate for policies that mainstream. Some of us will ensure that on critical we view the matter at hand through the lens of the people and the communities we represent.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation will respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to thank you SADC PF Plenary Assembly that was held in Luanda, Angola from 1st to 7th July 2024. To start, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to commend Madam Speaker and her delegation for representing Zambia so ably at this important event. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has duly taken note of the contents of the report, including the role of parliamentarians in promoting renewable energy policies in the SADC region, and discussion of the potential of renewable energies to catalyze socio-economic development, mitigate the impacts of climate change, and promote energy independence. In this regard, we are looking forward to the implementation of the resolutions of the report. Mr. Speaker, as you may be aware, the negative effects of climate change have not spared any country on earth. And a recent testimony to this is the drought that Zambia is experiencing in this current period. For this reason, concerted efforts such as those contained in the report are not only much appreciated, but also very timely. Mr. Speaker, as Zambia continues to interact with the outside world, it is prudent that events such as the one that this report is about are prioritized. This is so because they avail an opportunity for the country to share knowledge and benefit from the technical expertise of other countries. I would like to take the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to underscore something that is of critical importance in terms of the debate that has taken place on the floor of this House, which suggested that perhaps this entire participation by your delegation in the forum was not perhaps in the best interest of us as a people. Mr. Speaker, indeed, looking at page 7 of the report, and in particular, the recommendations that were made to the SADC member states, all the bullet points point to one important aspect, which is collaboration on a regional basis so that we can leverage off the various resources that each of the SADC nations has and enjoys. Mr. Speaker, the very fact that there is an opportunity to leverage on the experiences, knowledge, and resources within the region entail that the economies of scale will come into play. Where one country has LPG, for example, the others can benefit. Where one country has got other renewable energy sources, such as those that are going underutilized in Tanzania, for example, other countries downstream can benefit. Therefore, it is only logical that coming together, pulling together resources in the manner suggested in the report is in the interest of all the SADC countries. To argue to the contrary, Mr. Speaker, would be not to look at all the factors that are at play here. I thought just to highlight that particular aspect and highlight that this is why we have a regional body such as SADC, so that we can integrate and draw and grow from the economies of one another. Mr. Speaker, that is an important aspect of this report and the importance of the delegation actually attending the forum. Mr. Speaker, the efforts by the SADC PF complement my ministry in our quest to advance economic diplomacy by promoting investment in the renewable energy solutions in order to ensure energy security for not only the country but the region as a whole, and perhaps beyond. My ministry will therefore continue to work closely with the institutions such as the SADC PF towards complementing each other's efforts in combating climate change and other challenges. Mr. Speaker, we also wish to note that energy is at the heart of the climate challenge and key to the solution. A large chunk of the greenhouse gases that blanket the earth and trap the sun's heat are generated through energy production by burning fossil fuels to generate electricity and heat. The science is clear. To avoid the worst impacts of climate change, emissions need to be reduced by almost half by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. Mr. Speaker, we can only achieve those gains as a collective by effective participation, cooperation, and collaboration as nation states, whether be it at regional level, continental level, or global level. It is therefore one of the key areas that my ministry would want to play an assisting hand to ensure that economic diplomacy works hand in hand with our efforts at bringing together the various nation states. Lessons cited in the report, if replicated in Zambia, can assist the country in contributing immensely to this very noble quest. In this regard, I wish to support the adoption of the report. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The Honorable Member for Chinsali to wind up debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to thank the seconder of the motion, Honorable Juliani Nyemba, the MP for Chifunabuli, in the manner the way she seconded the motion. Then, Mr. Speaker, allow me also to thank Mr. Speaker, allow me also to thank Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, Honorable Christopher Kangombe, Honorable Sande Chanda, the Member of Parliament for Kanchivia, and the Honorable Minister of Justice for the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation for the insightful debates. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I put the question. The question is that this House adopts a report of the Zambian delegation to the 55th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum, SADC-PF Plenary Assembly, held in Rwanda, Angola, from 1st to 7th July 2024, for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Or the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. It's a good announcement, by the way. Before we move to the next item, let me provide guidance. Article 89(2) of the Constitution of Zambia states as follows. The National Assembly or a parliamentary committee shall not exclude the public or the media from its sittings unless there are justifiable reasons for the exclusion and the Speaker informs the public or the media for the reasons. Honorable members, the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee is classified under the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, as a housekeeping committee. In this regard, Standing Orders 199 states as follows. 199, there is established the following housekeeping committee. D, Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee. Honorable members, the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee deals within House matters hinging on the powers, privileges, procedures, practice, and organization and facilities of the National Assembly. For this reason, the debate on the report of the committee is held in camera. In this view of the foregoing, I direct all members of the public and the media to leave the House. Now, I further direct that broadcasting of the proceedings on the parliamentary radio, television, and social media be suspended during debate of the report. I thank you. Though I'm not seeing